Welcome everybody. Hope you've all had a great week and a great weekend. Welcome back to Leading Our Own Way. This is where we get to dive deep into stories of resilience, transformation, and a bit of cheeky humour and laughter along the way. And that's what happens today, because today I'm joined by none other than Marco Robinson, a man whose journey from a tough childhood to global recognition is nothing short of cinematic. If you've ever seen Channel 4's, Channel 4 being in the UK, where I'm from, the show is called Get a House for Free, or Caught, Legacy of Lies, storming number 4 in the UK and number 2 in the USA on Netflix, you know Marco doesn't do things by halves. No, he doesn't. He's an award-winning author, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and as you'll all hear, a master storyteller with a knack of turning adversity into opportunity and sprinkling a little humour on top. Get ready for tales of spy encounters, giving back, and a reminder that kindness really can change the world. Let's kick off part 1 of this 2-part special with a man who's proof that the best plot twists happen off screen. Anyway, please go and follow the show. Go and press the follow right now and leave a review while you can. Anyway, here in the meantime, here's the trailer. Here's Marco Robinson. Enjoy. Welcome to Leading Our Own Way. I'm your host, Andrew White, and this is the podcast that unveils captivating narratives of resilience and personal triumph. This podcast is for anyone seeking inspiration and insights on overcoming life's challenges. Follow and subscribe, and then we can lead together forever. Before we dive in, I want to give a big, massive shout out to our now new proud sponsor, Eshu Skincare, a brand that truly aligns with Leading Our Own Way. This Australian-born company is dedicated to keeping skincare simple, effective, and straightforward. They've made waves in the US, even landed in Macy's and over 300 stores, and now they're back with a renewed focus on healthy skin and real results. If you want authentic skincare that fits your lifestyle, check them out in the show notes. Thanks to Eshu Skincare for supporting real stories and mental fitness on Leading Our Own Way. And if you're interested in sponsoring like Eshu Skincare, drop us a message. We'd love to connect. Marco Robinson, welcome to Leading Our Own Way. How are you doing today, mate?
I am very good. It's 2026. I made it.
Happy New Year.
We made
by the
it.
way.
Yeah, Happy New Year's.
You made it. That's interesting that you say that. Why do you think you wouldn't have made it?
Well, I am 58 soon, so
you don't look
a fair
it,
whack
mate.
of years to go, isn't it?
Mate, you've done pretty well. And some of the pictures I've shared online and you've passed over to me and don't look like you're 58, my friend.
Yeah, working on that still. Reverse aging.
Yes, me too. Longevity genes. It's about activating the longevity genes. I agree. Yeah,
It is. Yes.
It certainly is. I could go down a cellular level with that. I interviewed somebody around longevity genes not long ago. But anyway, you've done some amazing things. Thanks for, first of all, though, before we jump into your journey, thanks for joining me on my journey. It's such an honour to have you here, Marco. And I found out about actually holding one of your books up. I found out off my previous guest, Gavin, my friend Gavin over
Patterson.
here. Gavin Patterson, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Me and him share a very similar journey in very different circumstances, and I thought I'd reach out to you, and you obliged nicely to come on the show. So thank you.
That's my pleasure, mate. Let's have a good show.
Let's have absolutely. You know, you've well, let's start off here. You've given away houses and changed lives on TV. What's a small, seemingly insignificant act of kindness that changed your life in a big way? And it could go both ways. It could be you doing a very small kind of kindness, or the other way around to you.
I think to answer that question, there's so many moments in my life that have been inspired, but mostly by people's. It's not necessarily big things, it's quite small things. It's kindness. And I think you know, Andy, that the world is a very different place than what it used to be 20, 30, even 10 years ago, because people are so busy making ends meet, cost of living, getting through life. They're too busy to just take a moment and say, you know what, I need to slow down and just be grateful of where I am and appreciate where I am. One of the first acts of kindness for me was when I was in sales, when I was 21 years old, and I was the worst I was the worst salesperson in the history of the company. I broke the record, right, for the worst. And it was 1989, and I was selling timeshare. In those days, timeshare is when you sell a holiday for 7 days, like a membership. And timeshare was not a particularly good name then; it had a bad reputation. But I was in a place where it was on commission only. I needed to leave my hometown because I was so depressed. I needed to get out of it.
Yeah.
But I had no social skills. I had very few communication skills because I wasn't experienced in that area. And I went 6 weeks without any sales, and the boss said to me, Marco, if you don't sell anything in the next few days, we're going to have to let you go. Now, for me, it wasn't a shock, obviously, but I didn't want to leave because I enjoyed it so much. Even though I wasn't successful, I enjoyed the environment and the getting out into the big city. And my narrative, I guess, before that moment was, why am I such a loser? Why can't I succeed? Why am I not selling? There must be something wrong with me. Perhaps I should go back and clean floors like I used to. So that was a big narrative that was still there. But when the boss said, we're going to fire you in a few days, because I loved where I was, it triggered my subconscious to say, I don't want to go back and do that. So my subconscious changed the internal question to, how can I be successful? Like, I didn't even know it was triggered. It just happened. And then I started, because I was desperate. And when you're desperate, you're in a lot of pain, and you tend to do a lot more things to avoid pain, right? So I kept asking this question. I kept walking down the road asking the question, went on the train asking the question, not internally at first, but then out loud, right? And people started looking at me going, what the hell is he? Who's this crazy guy, right? And the following day, I went into the office, and the top salesperson approached me, never talked to me before, personally, right? And he said, listen, I heard what's happened. You think the boss has said he's going to let you go. I want to help you. I think you can be really good at doing this. And I said, why me? He said, because I used to be like you. I used to be a loser. I said, oh, thanks very much. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I used to be homeless. I wasn't very good at sales. And then someone helped me overcome that. And he said to me, if I help you, the promise is you've got to help someone else that needs it. So I'm here to do that. And that was like the first real act of kindness that I'd experienced. And what he said was, listen, I'm going to help you do this. And first of all, I'm going to give you a book. I want you to go home and read it. And don't tell anybody you're reading it, because this is the book that you really need. It helped me. So I went home and read the book 8 times, didn't go to sleep that night, because it was just the right book at the right time for me. And it was a book about belief and, conviction and basically going all in and stuff. And I read the book for the 8th time, and I felt this difference in my physiology. I felt really good about myself. I didn't feel pain, and I didn't feel fear for the first time. I had basically nothing to fucking lose, right? So I just ran to the office fast as I could, got there. It was 5 miles to the office. And when I got there, I was so sweaty, they sent me back because my clothes were wet through. And I thought, oh, fucking hell, this is not going to work. But they gave me, said, listen, don't worry, we'll give you a lift because we've seen a change in you today. So they gave me a lift, brought me back to the office. And in those days, the way that timeshare worked was they brought a prospect, to the office. Like, they'd send them a letter saying, you want a free gift, come and collect it. You have to take a 90-minute presentation to basically get it, right? So I went to the reception. There was a couple there, middle-aged couple. And they had a dog with them. I didn't really think anything of the dog. That was a bit strange, but okay. So I started walking in through the office, and I noticed that he had a stick and she had a stick, and they were both white sticks. And I'm going, oh shit, these guys are blind. So I'm thinking to myself, how the hell am I going to sell them timeshare? They can't even see me.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? But the back of my mind said, how can I be successful? So I sat them down, and I didn't really have any fear. I said, listen, I don't care that you're blind. I'm going to sell you timeshare. You're going to spend £10,000 today. You're going to sit there for 5 hours, and it's going to be the best thing you've ever done. And they said to me, Mr. Robinson, we're going to leave in 5 minutes. We don't want to buy any timeshare. So it was a battle. It was a battle for literally 5 hours, right? And at the end of 5 hours, I was literally spent. Everything. I did everything I could. And he sat there He put his hand in his pocket, his back pocket, got his wallet out, put it on the table. He says, Marco, you were right. We were wrong. We want to buy this. Can you please take our credit card out of my wallet and put the £10,000 on it? Now, when that happened, my jaw basically hit the floor, went through the basement, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, is this real? And my first reaction was, why did you buy from me? Because that was pretty much my first success in life, right? And they said, this is your first sale. And I said, yeah. And they couldn't believe it. And we had a great laugh about it. And eventually they said, and this is going on a bit, this is a long answer. So it was because the act of kindness turned into the greatest lesson for me.
Yeah.
And they said, the reason we bought from you is because you transferred your belief to us. We would have bought it after half an hour, but you wouldn't stop, right? So
that's me.
Yeah, so that act of kindness turned into something else,
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Do you, going back to, I mean, belief is a big thing, isn't it? Do you think then, going back to what you said about the change, even in the last 10 years, we do blame it on COVID, but I do think it was before even COVID came around. You've helped a lot of people. Going at the root of a lot of these people you've come across in your time, and especially in the more recent of years, are we all living in fear? Do you think fear is a huge, huge issue amongst everyone, with contracts, mortgages, businesses, working 9 to 5, I can't leave my job. You know what I mean? Is it fear?
Yeah, there's more fear now than there's ever been. And you know that, Andy, because you're living in it. And fear starts not just in the household, but it starts from the very, very top. Because every single government in the world is not serving you. Now, after the Second World War, governments were fantastic. They were serving you. They were doing everything they could because they just won a war.
And we all came together, didn't we?
On the feet.
Yeah.
Sorry?
And then connection was formed because we all needed to be together again. It was the same after 9/11 in New York City as well.
It was, similar to that. But now it's government overreach. It's more tax. It's more rules. You can't do this. You can't do that. It's Islamophobia, it's religious connotations. Look at Bondi Beach, all this stuff, it's a false narrative. It's lies upon lies upon lies.
You can't say this, you can't say
politics, but Bondi Beach, they're saying it was not religious. Well, let's just take the politics now, but the truth isn't, the truth isn't out there because the media is controlled by the government. The government are controlled by globalists and the big corporations that don't want you to feed the truth. They want you to basically work your ass off, pay taxes to, pay for Ukrainian wars and forever wars that you've got no kind of, say in. And it's a really bad time. It's a really bad time.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like slowly coming out of that. And again, I don't like going into politics, but you've seen in America, you've got a different government now that's kind of changing things, but it's still every government. I don't know any politician pretty much that I could trust. So you've got all this government telling you what the rules are, telling you what you have to pay for your energy, what you have to pay for your tax. Don't have any say in that. But the most important thing is you don't know where your tax money is going. And we know that it's not going to the places that it should go. And the problem is you don't have any control over it. So you have to make more money now than ever before in terms of the frequency of how much you output in productivity. Because of the cost of living crisis, because of the tax, because of everything else. In the 50s, you could buy 2 houses and 2 cars with 1 salary. Now you can't even buy a car or 1 house with 2 salaries.
I'm so glad I bought my house when I did. Yeah.
Yeah, because inflation is insane. I mean, to buy your local groceries is double what it was last year. It's doubling every year.
Yeah.
You just can't do it. So that has to change, right? And I'm not saying this as a victim. I'm just saying this as a fact. It is very difficult for people to get ahead. And as an entrepreneur, thank God I am. As an entrepreneur, I'm faced with challenges constantly because I have to create products and services that help people solve a pain problem and get them to help them make more money, which I'm very successful at.
Yeah.
So every government basically doesn't understand that entrepreneurs create jobs, not governments.
So true. Yeah.
So yeah, we're living in a very, very scary time.
We
Yeah.
are, and I do want to dig deep into your some of your philosophy around that as well shortly. But the podcast is it's called Leading Our Own Way, and I think it's important that people who are listening really understand how you are leading your own way. So if you're doing some unbelievable things, and oh my god, I feel like we're going to be here forever at this part because it's phenomenal. But just tell those who don't know who you are, Marco. Tell us how you're leading your own way. Let's run through. Well, how would you consider that you are leading your own way? I know you're helping people, but let's dig deep there a little bit for a moment.
Well, because I've been around a long time, I've got a lot of chapters in my life, So
Yeah.
what I'm doing now, I mean, then we'll go backwards. But what I'm doing now is I have several businesses, but obviously my most successful business has always been able to mentor and consult people to do better. So, I consult businesses or coaches, sole traders, basically how to make more money, how to get clients online, how to develop better services, develop better offers, so they can attract people that want to work with them. That's what my genius is. My genius is helping people fulfill their potential, but actually see some potential in the first place. So if you look at all the testimonials and thousands that people have worked with, they always say, Marco's the only guy in the world that's helped me see my potential. I've gone out and done it. And, I've worked with comedians, I've worked with singers, I've worked with salespeople, I've worked with business people. But the common denominator is they decided to do something where they didn't want to do it before because they didn't feel comfortable or confident or capable of doing it. So part of me is the mindset and part of me is the tool set. And part of me is like the innovator because I see patterns before they kind of happen. I've predicted all the things that have happened, AI, all that kind of stuff. So when you're in that position, it's scary as well because you're always taking risks. And the thing is that if you don't take risks, you're not going to get rewarded. But things about me is I have to take real big hits. If it doesn't work out, I get kind of, it costs me.
Yeah.
So, but if you don't take those big swings, you're not going to hit the ball at all. So that's my business, and what I've had to do is rely on myself. And what I will say to you on this podcast, I'm sure you guys all know this, but you have to take responsibility. There's no one going to save you. You've got to do it yourself. You've got to do it yourself, right? And once you realize that you are in control of your own life, no one else is in control of it, only you are, but you've got to make those improvements to yourself all the time. You've got to read those books. You've got to take that course. You've got to have a coach. You've got to be fucking all in to your evolution, because if that evolution never happens, you're going to get left behind. And I know, and there's people right now that don't even know what AI is. They don't even want to use it. They're scared of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So when that came out, Christ, it was fantastic for me because I can do 10 times the work.
Yeah.
In the same business.
I couldn't do it without the podcast. If I didn't have AI to help me, I wouldn't be able to do this podcast.
No, you could have,
take me
because
weeks to do one episode.
You did it before. It just would have took you a lot longer to do it. And what happens when things take you a long time to do things, you go, is it worth it?
Yeah.
All this effort.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But now it's worth it because you're getting it done faster. So what I do is I develop products and services which I feel are right for the time. So you met me because of Gavin. Gavin, I met just over a year ago. He was in Bali at the time, recovering because he just left the police force and he was traumatized. He was going through massive PTSD.
Yeah.
And the reason I met Gavin was because I started a book series called Start Over, Turn Any Loss into a Sensational Comeback. You've got a copy there.
Yes.
Right. So that was an idea. I was on holiday, actually, with my partner at the time.
Yeah.
In Lake Como in Italy. I'm not name dropping because I've never been there before. So it was a place I'd wanted to go. And before I went there, I knew I was unfulfilled. There was just something, and you know what this means, Andy. You feel there's something, you're not happy, you're not fulfilled, there's something, and you know you can do better, but you don't know what to do. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
And so I went to Lake Como and I asked a question. I was on a boat ride. I said to the universe, I really need to do something big like I used to. I'm not fulfilled. I'm not excited. I think I'm wasted. Okay. So, and the universe said to me, why don't you ask people to co-author a book with you and share their story of courage? And I thought, that's a good idea.
It's a great idea.
So I literally got the message and I got my phone out on this boat and I did a Instagram live. And I asked people to co-author, so listen, pay me a few grand and you can be in my book and I'll publish you. I can't guarantee anything, but I'll use all of my influence, all my hundreds of thousands of followers to see what we can do. So I sold out the first book at like 10 places, made 30 grand in 5 minutes.
Wow.
It was insane, right? And then I said to the universe, oh my God, I've sold out the book. What am I going to do? I've got nothing else to sell. So the universe said, well, why don't you create a series of books? Do a series like of 10 books with 14 authors in each. And you can write a chapter in each one. That's what he said to me. So I did that. And I charged 5 grand per person.
Wow.
And then I sold out of 10 books. And then I did a second series. And now we're doing a third series.
Amazing.
Right? Now, the outcome of that is people like Gavin have had a voice to write that chapter. All those books have become #1 bestsellers, which is insane. All 8 volumes that have been released, right? Please buy a copy if you're watching this podcast.
I'll put it in the show notes for you, Marco, absolutely.
Because the stories in the book are people's stories of courage overcoming loss, trauma, or adversity, people with domestic violence that gave up, people that want to commit suicide, people that lost their health, they were going to die, people that have got out of a wheelchair. Amazing stories, were all true stories of the hero's journey. And I thought, really, that's what people need to hear today, because people need a lot of inspiration, because a lot of people are giving up. But they need to hear inspiration from people that are ordinary, not politicians, not actors, not celebrities, not billionaires, people from the street like me and you who've come from nothing. They need to hear it. Gavin's story is amazing because he was the special forces policeman and he couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So, and then he turned his life around. And now Gavin, I went to Sydney and did an event, and Gavin spoke on my stage because he'd wrote a chapter, because I invite the authors to speak on my stage. Gavin spoke. It was amazing. And now we're starting a Start Over Business chapter franchise. We've just sold the first one in Toronto. And that's where people come to that chapter. They have a story, or they want to start a business. They want to start something or grow a business. And we have a membership for that's it's gone from an idea on a boat in Italy for one book to now a multi-million-dollar franchise.
Just taking a very quick break to thank our sponsor, Eshu Skincare. If you haven't heard of them, Eshu Skincare started right here in Australia, using Australian ingredients to make skincare straightforward and accessible, especially for men who want results without the fuss. Their journey took them all the way to the US, where they were featured in Macy's and over 300 stores. Now they're back with a fresh approach, focusing on healthy skin and authenticity for everyone. I'm proud to have Eshu Skincare as a sponsor on Leading Our Own Way. See the show notes for their website and to see how you can keep your skin healthy and confident. And if you're interested in sponsoring like Eshu Skincare, drop us a message. We'd love to hear from you. Now, right back to the episode. I love it. What a beautiful journey. Yeah, look, it's just incredible, and I relate to that so much. I don't know if I told you this, but my book here, How to Lead with Purpose, there's 3 chapters in it. And chapter 1 is a collection of about 25 people's journeys of workplace toxicity, or a point in their life where they were going to come to end their life through workplace bullying, workplace toxicity, because my journey is exactly that. After winning the National Teacher of the Year award, I ended my life in England to come here to live my dream of becoming a teacher. I chased everything I ever wanted to chase. I've fallen and failed many times, but I've got up. But that absolutely destroyed me. And then, many years later, I lived with anxiety and paranoia after the truth had come out with the bullying. And then, I've worked at every level in the education system. I've helped build a school from scratch. Which was a beautiful journey, but it was so stressful, and I entered another toxic environment. And then 6 weeks after leaving there, and this does the full loop back to what I want to bring up with you. I was 30 minutes away from dying with sepsis shock in the bile duct, and I don't believe that was anything that was necessarily put into my body, because I don't really eat badly, and I
Yeah.
did a bit of pleasure eating because I was struggling. I'd go to bed really late though because I didn't want the next day to come. I had suicidal thoughts.
So it was the stress. It was a physiological
It was
manifestation, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the chronic stress, and that's when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of making a change, and that's when I believe change has to occur, when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of making a change. And that
Yes.
was the workplace bullying was horrible, and I thought the end of the life was there, but it wasn't the catalyst to change. I vented every single day, but venting every single day releases the undesired emotions, but it doesn't change anything. Because the next day you sleep and you wake up and you vent again. Because I was the opposite to most guys. I did actually open up, but I saw it in other people's faces, oh, here we go again, or things like that. I was the guy who actually did open up, but it took me to almost die to actually leave the education system. I left to write the book. I read for 2 years around the brain and human physiology. And I sat on this podcast for a year before I even recorded. I wanted to learn. I wanted to read. I wanted to understand people at a deeper level, mental health at a deeper level, our genes and cells at a deeper level. And that's when I started to interview some incredible people, because I'm a talkative soul and I've traveled the world. I met some incredible people. So I started filming my mates, and it's just grown, and it's grown legs. But the sacrifice I've had to do is leave the job where I was getting well paid, and I earn half of what I used to now, and everything's put on to paying the bills, but also living my dream of doing the podcast. I love to talk, and I just got my first sponsor, believe it or not, actually.
Amazing. Congratulations. Love
Thank
that.
you. Yeah, no, thank you. And obviously I would love to do this full time, but I got rid of the fear. I got rid of the chronic stress. I don't live in fear anymore. I don't even know what day it is half the time. That tells me I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing.
Yeah.
Right. And I've been doing it for 2 years now, and I love it. And that goes back to you. Everything that I've come across in this podcast, choices is a reoccurring topic that comes into our head. We have choices. I know they might be quite hard sometimes, but we do have choices. And do you believe we have to go through some form of crisis to actually make a change in life?
Yes, I do. And I believe there are only two factors that get you to make a change. One of them is desperation, and one of them is inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in between is a comfort zone.
Yeah. Death by comfort.
Nothing changes in a comfort zone because your psychology is comfortable. It's happy. Therefore, it doesn't need to. Why would it want to change?
Yeah.
So your psychology, all success and all failure is psychological. Your psychology, because you're a teacher, you would probably know this, that your brain is basically wired to help you survive. It is not wired to help you grow.
But it thrives off growing, doesn't it?
It does, but you have to be intentional about growing.
Absolutely.
And the difference is between us and animals is that we have a neocortex, a rational thinking mind. However, when we're born into the world, we are instantly taught, or I would say conditioned, to be a certain way and think a certain way and have certain rules and regulations, and put your hand up in class to go to the toilet. You need permission, right? That's not entrepreneurship, and that is not thriving. It's basically being put into a box, and I was put into that box, and very early on I didn't want to be. I knew I was not in the right place for me. I was very depressed. I was in the back of the classroom looking out the window. I couldn't engage with academics at all. It just didn't. I didn't understand it. The only thing I understood was history. That's it, because I love the storytelling. But apart from that, geography, mathematics, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I didn't just get it. I didn't get it. And now I get it, but then I just couldn't engage with it. So I thought I was worthless. I thought I didn't have any value, and I was actually put into a class called 1T, which meant thick in those days.
I remember you telling me, yeah.
Right. So that was every school had that then. They had a class for people that didn't, weren't as fast as other kids. Right. So
and they called it T.
Bullied. Yeah, you were bullied to shit because you were prejudiced against, right? And kids are not very nice in those situations. So of course I thought I was bullied for many years. I skived school many times. I just didn't want to be there. So, I really value now education, but the right education. And, your greatest asset is your ability to learn new things that help you get what you want. Simple as that. What you did when you had a breakdown, we'll call it a breakdown, I think that's what we should call it,
Yeah.
is that you learned about a new subject and you went all in it and you turn your life around. What a lot of people do these days is they don't want to have the time to learn a new thing. They want it now.
That's right.
So
Instant gratification, yeah.
instant rather than delayed gratification. So we know that delayed gratification, as long as you're learning what you need to learn, is the way to do it, right? And take responsibility. So yeah, that's the answer, I guess.
Absolutely, and growth. Growth comes from being comfortable with the uncomfortable, isn't it? You know,
Yes.
If we put ourselves through those difficult situations and be comfortable doing it, but we as a society we've got used to all of that. Though, I mean, look at what we've done. We've invented chairs so we're more comfortable. We've invented sofas. We've got the heating systems. We've got the cooling systems to regulate us. We're never sitting uncomfortable. Yet for millions of years, we had the same cold. We had the same heat. I mean, some people would argue me with a degree here and there.
No, for millions of years, you sat down. If you sat down too long, you're going to get killed. Right.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And our cells inflame after about 25 to 30 minutes of sitting down anyway. And our ancestors used to sit on their knees, but now we're sitting on the floor in class, crossing our legs. And I keep saying to the kids, I know you're because I left teaching and became a casual teacher, or like a relief teacher. So I go into different schools now around the Melbourne area, and I say, for me, you don't have to sit on your bottom. You can sit on your knees if you want. I know your teacher will change tomorrow when they're back, but and I go through the depth of the history of our physiology, and they must think I'm crazy, but I do. It's insane.
No, that's the great gift that you're giving them, though. Otherwise,
That's right.
they wouldn't have had that, would they?
Yeah, and I teach them about memory retention, focus, clarity. I talk about that. I talk about the neural pathways inside their brain, and they're fascinated.
Yeah.
Absolutely fascinated. I give them secret codes to remember, so the next time they see me, they have to retell me the code. It's amazing. But these kids are all on devices for hours upon hours when they go home. And again, instant gratification.
It dumbs them down because
Big time.
They basically farm out their mind to something else. But you see, what I'm into right now, because I'm closely studying Elon Musk, and I've just asked the question, how can I get my 10-year plan? How can I achieve my 10-year plan in 6 months? So, because he's done that over and over again.
Yeah.
You know,
What do you think it is then?
It's obviously it's the incredible work ethic. It's incredible 100-hour weeks. Yeah, which I love because it means I'm getting there faster. You know, so, and the thing about this is that, to give you an example, I have written a musical. I've written the story. I've done most of the songs, but I've not had a clue how to get that to the stage and getting people to invest in it. And I'm getting closer to that. So I've had to really, really lean into that for completely novice, you know, and now that's coming to reality. But the reason I'm doing it so fast is because I'm putting a lot of hours into collapsing the time, right? And that's what we have to do. Once we master something, then we can get someone else to do it because we know how to do it. But before that, you have to know how to do it. You have to learn it.
Well, I mean, and I know that will come up into probably the future plans part of the end part of the episode when we talk about future plans. So let's bring up the musical then, if that's okay. But I just wanted to touch on you've mentioned storytelling, mate. I relate to that so much, and this is why the podcast exists, because my story comes into, I suppose, my business, if you will, even though I never looked at it as a business. I suppose it's going that way, but storytelling is important. You have a particular philosophy, don't you, where you say legacy over profit, essentially, legacy over business. Is that right? Am I bringing that right? Where you're supposed to bring, what do you do? What do you mean by, do you want the entrepreneurs, the CEOs, the leaders of the world to bring in their storytelling into their business so they focus on that opposed to, is it longevity? Is it infinite mindset versus finite mindset?
That's a lot of things there.
Yeah, sorry. I kind of went on my own head. I was like, where am I going with this?
Instead of giving your legacy to your kids, create the legacy of your own in your own lifetime.
Yeah.
That's my philosophy. And to achieve that, you've always got to have a meaning to everything that you do. Everything's got to have a meaning, because there's no meaning, there's no purpose. There's no purpose, no action. Right?
Agreed.
So in terms of you're talking about the how to, right? So if you look at the world right now, you will hear all the time on social media, we live in the attention economy. You're going to get people's attention. It's the hardest thing. It's the highest value currency, because people are so distracted by so many messages and advertising and all that kind of stuff. Like 3,000 messages a day we get into our mind. How the hell do you get people's attention? But actually now, people know how to get people's attention online with the right hook, with the right offer.
Yeah.
But it's how do people buy from someone when they're all the same offers and they're all the same hooks?
So true.
Right? And right now, trust is at an all-time low. It's an all-time low. I mean, there's never been trust so low than there is now. And the only way to overcome that is by telling a story.
Agree.
But also making sure it's true, obviously. And in that story, using references that make it undeniable. Now, an undeniable story that people would believe is, of course, you've had press coverage, you've written books, there's other people saying the same thing of what's coming out of your mouth. And of course, if you run a business, you've got clients that are recommending you of what transformation they have. So as a business owner, you have to have social proof as the number one figure out why people are going to say, right, I'm going to jump off the fence and buy, you know?
That comes back to connection, doesn't it? Building trust alongside connection. And I think connection is an all-time low amongst people now as well, isn't it? You just said about losing trust. Why do you think we've lost trust? Because we keep saying the same thing over and over again, but not following through?
Well, part of that is AI, because AI has enabled businesses to be more productive and create more content.
Yeah.
So in the world right now, there's over 50% more content created than last year. Now, that is not a small figure, because there's 3 billion people out there creating content. That's a huge amount. There's a huge shift. But in that content, because they're using AI, it's all perfect. Because AI has made it perfect, right? So people don't trust perfect. People don't like that. Like you said, they like connection. And because they're churning out this content at such a rate, people are actually losing business because they're losing the connection, that they're losing the story. So I believe that we are now in the story economy.
Agree.
And the people that can tell their story and keep telling it are the people that are going to win.
So you're saying I'm going to win then?
Well, I already am. Yeah,
You are.
proven that.
But
Yeah.
I want to prove myself. Well, I prove it to myself. It's not that I try and do anything to prove anybody else wrong. I do it to try and prove myself right. And I do believe in my storytelling. Not that I want to ramble on about my journey all the time, but I want to help share other people's journeys so people can see their light and take pieces of people.
Yeah, because you run a very successful podcast, which is based on storytelling. It's people's stories.
Agreed.
Leading their own ways, right? So, you know, your narrative is based on the hero's journey, which is my narrative. What happened to you? How did you respond to it? What was your lowest point? Why did you turn it around? How did you turn it around? And what's your outcome? That's it.
Yeah. You've just nailed it, the structure of the episode pretty much. Well, look, we've still, and I know we're going to get into where life began for you, because you have been through you've had that lived experience, which obviously contributes massively towards why you do what you do, because authenticity for me, the definition for authenticity is believing in it and telling the truth and believing in what you're saying for me, right? And I'm sure you're aligned up with that. Before we get into your childhood then, there's loads of other stuff. You've not only just done the Start Over movement, you've done some other books as well. A few. Is it 5 books you've done?
No, I've done, apart from the Start Over series, I've written 2 other books.
2 other books. Talk about these books as well and why you did them.
So the first book is called Close the Deal and Suddenly Grow Rich. It's a book about how to be better at sales and closing deals, right?
And a bestseller.
A bit like Donald Trump's The Art of the Deal.
Yeah.
Similar thing, right?
Yeah.
So I wrote my first book when I was 40. I didn't write it when I was younger.
Same as me.
Yeah, and it was 2008 at the time. I was in a very unhappy marriage, like really unhappy. I wasn't very rich. I was working for projects, if you like, jobs. I had no time, and I said to myself, "How can I get out of this fucking marriage?" Basically said, "How can I leave my wife?" That's my question. That was my question.
She doesn't listen to this.
Well, tragically, she died.
Oh, you did say I'm sorry. Yes. I do remember.
But she wasn't my wife. She was my ex-wife. We divorced 15 years ago, but she's still the mother of my children. So she's still listening. But in a good way.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry.
so I said, how can I leave my wife? And the universe said, well, why don't you write the book you've been thinking of writing for many years about your lived experience in success in business? And the message didn't come through at first because I was so busy. And when you're so busy, you don't sometimes receive the right messages that you need. Okay. So one day I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning and started writing.
Love that.
And when I write a book, I have to have the title first. So it took me a while to get the title right. But I had the title. And then I started writing. It took me 6 months. I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning every day for 6 months. I wrote the book. I found a publisher. As I said to myself, well, I have no idea how to publish a book. How do I get this thing out in the bookstores? So I reached out, sent emails, networked, found a publisher, amazing guy. He edited it with me. It took me another 3 months. And then I started promoting it. And 2 weeks later, it was number one. It was number one bestseller.
Wow.
Yeah.
Insane.
And I remember I was in this huge bookstore in Malaysia. It was kind of, what was it called? Kinakosa, whatever, a Japanese bookstore. Can't even remember the title now. But it was huge. It was like over 3 floors. It was enormous, right? It was on a Sunday. It was like 2 o'clock, and I was at this table waiting to sign this book, and there's no one there. And thought, oh my God, this is a disaster. No one's coming, right? 10 minutes later, there was 500 people queuing up outside the bookstore for me to sign the book for them to buy it.
Amazing. Absolutely incredible. That was a best-selling. That was your first book, and it was best-selling within 2 weeks. Did your second book? The second book was called The Financial Freedom Guarantee, right?
The second book was a while later, actually. So the second book I wrote in 2016. Oh, wow. 2017. Yeah, quite a while after that. It's called The Financial Freedom Guarantee. The subtitle, the 10-step award-winning retirement plan to fire your boss and live life in your terms, right? And it was all about basically buying rental property and getting the cash flow that was going to replace your salary. Financial freedom, right?
Yeah.
Because I'd lived that experience. I actually made loads of money after that first book. Started a business and made loads of money. I had all this cash, and I went to America in subprime crisis. I bought houses for 10 grand, 20 grand, and flipped them for 50K, right? And then I did seminars about it, and I started another business, and I had people queuing up to learn how to do that. And that was a great time for me. And then I wrote that book. I only write a book based on what I've done. And I've actually learned, I've kind of made a lot of mistakes, but then I've succeeded in it, and then I write the book.
And that's why the musicals, I mean, I know we're going to get into it towards the end, but that's why the musical's here as well, isn't it? Based on another life experience, which I cannot wait to share, may I add. So I can't help but laugh when I think about that story. All right, so we've covered those books, but you've done other things as well. From the age of 40, then, that's really when that, I suppose, I mean, do we consider it success? And the change of you leaving your wife at the time, the success led into a lot of TV and emissions as well, didn't it? I mean, I'll let you share the stage. We've got Netflix.
Well, yes.
We've got Channel 4.
I mean, obviously, I'd been successful before I was 40.
Yeah, but in different realms, wasn't it?
Yeah, so when I did the timeshare thing, when I got good at sales, I became salesperson of the year, salesperson in the country, and eventually got headhunted to do timeshare memberships in Malaysia in 1997 because I was the best in the world at doing it. Yeah, wow. So, and I had no idea about Malaysia. I thought it was a third world country. You know, my family said, don't go there, people live in trees, right? So, all kinds of shit that was coming out. I'll come back to that, but so when I was, so after 40, it was a different kind of success for me because it was entrepreneurial. I wasn't working for people. It was all for me. Yeah. So when that book came out, became number one, I was invited on my first breakfast TV show, national breakfast TV show, to talk about the book because I'd been living in Malaysia at that point for, 15 years. So I was very familiar with the people, the culture, the networking. So I got these invites to come on loads of TV shows and talk about that, which was really a great experience. Yeah.
TV show was over there or back in the UK?
TV show was over there, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was really great, fantastic. And when the problem was, I wasn't making a lot of money from book sales because you don't, because it's such a small price, and Amazon takes 70%, 50%.
Yeah.
So by the time a royalties are gone, you don't really get a lot out of it unless you sell like millions. I didn't sell millions. I sold a lot, but not millions. So my question was, how can I make this into a business? And I basically turned it. First thing I did is I put myself out there as a sales consultant. After I'd written the book, I'd got the pedigree, and then suddenly I started to get hired by companies to be their keynote speaker. I remember doing my first speaking event after the book to ING Insurance at their annual conference to 10,000 people and get paid 50 grand, right?
Oh.
Which is amazing, right?
Yeah.
So I was getting quite a lot of these things going on, but they weren't like every week. They weren't coming through. You know what it's like, right? So I thought to myself, well, how can I? And it was the subprime. It was the recession. Companies were really not doing well. It was a very bad outlook out there. And I thought to myself, well, the companies are not doing very well. How can I create something to get them to sell more stuff, right? So the universe said, well, why don't you reach out to hotels that you know and see if they've got any free rooms that you can sell as a vacation incentive. For example, buy a phone, get a free holiday. Buy a car, get a free holiday. Vacation incentive. So I got these rooms in a hotel for free, and I said to them, I'll send people for lunch to your hotel if you give me some free rooms. And I got about 100 free rooms like that, right? And I packaged the room into a 5-day, 4-night vacation. I packaged it into a beautiful voucher, and I went door to door and sold it for $50. And I sold out.
God.
And the companies that were using the voucher were doubling the sales. And then I joined an organization called BNI, which is a networking group. Be like a chapter that I'm starting now. And in BNI, you get referred. So I got referred to Citibank. Right?
Yeah, that's huge.
And I said, listen, we need to sell more credit card applications. What can you do for us? So I created a holiday, a flying lesson, and a city break, created the voucher for it, and I sold 10,000 vouchers to them for $50 each.
Oh my God.
I made 12 million in that business in the first year.
For them or for yourself?
I made 12 million in revenue for the company in that year. Right?
That's insane.
Everyone that's bought it, their sales increased because obviously, let's imagine you got an iPhone from the same iPhone, same price, one shop you get a free 5-day, 4-night holiday worth $2,000. You're going to buy that iPhone, aren't you?
Of course.
Right.
And it's not cost the company any business either. That's so smart. That's so good. But you being you paid off though, didn't it? Because you had those contacts that were willing to do that. What did the other end get out of it? As well, obviously services when they were there, right?
The hotels got out of it. Well, you've got to a stage where it was so big, I had to start buying rooms, right? So they got that out of it, but also they got a lot of people that were spending more money in the hotel because they didn't get a checkout bill when they're in the morning. What do you do? You spend more money in the hotel. If you know you've got no room bill, what do you do? You spend more money in the hotel, don't you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Dinner,
drinks, lunch, excursions, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it didn't last because I got copied. It wasn't all good news. And I made a lot of mistakes there because I didn't go to different countries fast enough. I didn't expand it fast enough, and I got copied locally, and it became more difficult to do it.
So did that become a regret?
Oh, that was a massive regret. Totally, yeah. And it was my own fault because it's something when you're doing so well and all this money's coming in, everything's great, man. You don't expand, you don't lean in, you kind of sit back, which I did. Yeah. And that was a mistake.
You don't make that mistake anymore, do you?
Never again would I make that mistake.
Well, you had to go through it to get to where you are, I suppose, right? So with you were in Malaysia for 15 years, you said. Something happened there within that business as well, didn't it? Why did you leave there?
Well, I had to stop it because I was getting copied, and it was getting more expensive for me. So
that
profit
was the
margins,
sorry, okay, got you. That was the reason why you left. Yeah, got you. Right. And so then, how did you get into the other unbelievable? People know you as the guy on Channel 4 that gave houses away.
So,
well, that's a wrap for part 1 with Sir Marco Frampton. What a ride already. From wild stories of kindness to the power of facing your fears. Marco's journey is a masterclass in turning setbacks into comebacks and doing it with a grin as well. Most of the time. If you thought that was inspiring, just wait for part 2. That's going to drop on Wednesday, but before then we've got Tuesday Truth. But because what's coming is we're only getting started on the adventures, the laughs and the lessons. Don't forget, if you're loving these conversations, please hit follow on your favourite platform, share the episode with a friend and leave us a review. It helps more people find the show and join our Leading Our Own Way community. Remember, a single act of kindness can rewrite someone's journey and story, maybe even your own. We'll see you in part 2 with Marco Robinson. Join us tomorrow to hear more from today's incredible guests and learn valuable insights to help you lead your own way. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you then.